Welcome back or to the channel. Trucker Rod here in S.E.E. and we are down here at my father's place live streaming. What do you know, the one and only device to keep me in live stream I drop. Let me get this clipped. So anyhow, we're my dad is a big gearhead, always has been, so we went and had breakfast. Went to a model train museum, took a look at some Lionel stuff. It was raining, so we couldn't really do anything outside. So I'm gonna take you inside to his museum and everything that is nostalgic, that is near and dear to him growing up. Classic gas station stuff, hot rod stuff, and all that jazz. So come along and get to meet, y'all get to meet my father. This is the young man that raised me. This is Keith. This is my dad. So we're live, and walk us through the garage here. And what I explained to people was, this is near and dear to your heart growing up. The classic gas stations, the signage, the old oil cans, to just everything, what it was back then, as it is, you know, compared to what it is now, which is nothing. So you've always been big in cars. I told the folks, you know, that you had been a aviation mechanic on the bombers in the Air Force in the 60s, and how you used to sneak the race car onto the base.
Yeah.
So, you want a little backstory on sneaking the car on the base?
No, I never took the race car on the base.
Okay, but did you get it in and out of the base, or not even on the base?
I kept it at a Texaco station in town near my sponsor, and where I did the maintenance on it.
Okay, so I thought you guys took it on and off the base.
Fletcher's Texaco.
Okay, all right. So Fletcher's Texaco. My understanding in the conversations in the past was that you guys would sneak it in and off the base.
No.
Okay.
We were not supposed to be running a race car at all, period.
As far as even on the side?
Yes. If we got hurt, couldn't do our duty, it'd be bad news for...
Okay, that's where I probably forked the fork in the road was for me. So you couldn't be doing any dangerous stuff like that. That would jeopardize. So, going along here, he's going to show us. I'm just getting this side of it. There's that glass case I was telling you all about. So he's going to start us over here.
That was my bird right there. Now, I was in Strategic Air Command at Wordsmith Air Force Base in Oscoda, Michigan.
Let me get up in there a little closer. It's
I was a crew chief, missile mechanic.
So that was the bird that he worked on, he said. He was a crew...
tail number, 2128.
2128 was his tail number.
That's in the hangar. That's hanging under the wing of the B-52 where they carried it.
Okay. So...
It was a cruise missile. It had a maximum distance of 700 miles. It could fly supersonic. It could fly anywhere from 50 feet out the ground as high as 30,000 feet.
Okay.
It was nuclear capable, nuclear warhead capable. It was to prolong and protect the life of the bomber from a ground enemy missile site trying to shoot him down with a missile. This would be launched in the air and go up to 700 miles maximum distance. It was guided by the stars, pre-programmed from wherever the B-52 was at in the world. They could program it from coordinates where they were at to the coordinates where the enemy missile site was. Launch it. It was powered by a J-52 jet engine. It was all self-contained once it left the mothership.
That's news to me. So, discussions we never had before on the missiles that were carried onto the plane.
It was carried one under each wing of the B-52H Stratofortress bomber.
Stratofortress bomber.
Yeah.
And you said a crew chief on there?
Crew chief on the missile.
Okay, on the missile. All right.
At 19 years old, I was selected to go to missile school, which was brand new at that era time. It was at the height of the Cold War. They were screaming for missile people. All the missile people went through Chanute Air Force Base, got the training and schooling. That was the only training base in missiles that there ever was. I spent 21 weeks of learning this bird. A lot was crammed on us in a very short time. I got to my permanent base in it was April or May. First time we went out to the hangar, this missile was so new that the hangar was bare to the walls. We were a bunch of 19-year-old, the youngest ones were average 19 and 21. We had other fellows that were older career airmen. But at 19 years old, I was presented with a $500,000 plane toy. Said, "This is yours. You're responsible for it. You take care of it."
It's something back then, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Can you see a 19-year-old high school grad doing that today? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a different time, different mindset, and of course, people, raised differently now. Now, remember I said he had tiled this floor, and just as we're walking around in here, I told you he tiled in the Chevy emblem into the floor. So just wanted to get that as we're perusing through the garage. Go ahead.
My wife Patty and I laid the tile. I designed it and we laid it.
Okay. So if you want to start, we'll go kind of down this way. If you want to just talk a little bit about things you've got here.
This is my workbench area. I'm a sticker for having everything organized, sticker for having everything clean. I'm the only one that works in here. This is my toolbox module here.
So, 56-inch dual bank chest with side box, side cabinet, and then the 56-inch top box. 72-inch bottom box, tri-bank, triple bank, side box, dual bank, top 56-inch box, and then the cabinet in the back. Just had to stand back and look. But since his days as a mechanic in the Air Force to now, he has pretty much hung on to all of his tools on top of accumulating more through other people or
the last 40 years.
Yeah, through garage sales, auctions. He has always picked up swap meets. I know my stepbrother and I, he's always got, some extra tools or extra stuff he's picked up in his travels out on the road going around. So another thing, he is a big proponent of the old Texaco gas stations. That was one thing.
I pumped gasoline to wash cars at Texaco station where I grew up when I was 15 years old. And my sponsor for the stock car in 1963-64 was the Texaco station in Oscoda, Michigan. So I've always had a real soft spot for Texaco brand.
And it definitely reflects in here. As you can see up here, there's a lot of the old classic signages.
These signs up here, the pump plates, these are original dated. They're not reproductions.
So, few things are reproductions, but he has, if he could get his hands on original, he would do it. We were talking about these cars last night and how I took to those. I really fancied those cars, stock cars, when he raced back in the day. And we were talking. We had a nice little fireside chat at the table till 10:30 last night. Didn't bring my camera in, or I would have sat it down on the table and had a discussion.
Flamler Speed Shop.
Yep. So of course that is our last name right there.
Found that at a business store in Hermitage, Pennsylvania.
So that, and we'll just move along. Now he has gotten creative and moved things up to the ceiling. But one thing he has mentioned to me and my brother is different ways they used to pour oil and coolants into the engines back when gas stations had full service. So, or the way the oil or other chemicals came for the vehicles. So he has collected various types over the course of the years in the history of gas stations.
The gas pumps in 1954 Bennett been totally restored. The aerators out of the 40s, 50s, 60s.
So
these are handy oilers. I've got over 250 of them. They're very collectible in that glass case.
So a lot of classic oils.
Called handy oilers.
Handy oilers.
Here's Jeff Gordon when he was about 15 years old. 15, 16, started out in sprint cars.
Yeah, he really followed Jeff Gordon in his heyday.
Followed his complete career.
And myself, in the early days, I was always the guide. I loved watching Richard Petty growing up, and I've been, like I said, a big proponent of especially when he ran the Charger and the Hemi and in the Superbird. But so to each his own on that. So I'll let you keep going on. What do we got here? Bulk tank for oil?
Yeah, it's called a block storage tank, shelf head. That was out of the 30s and 40s.
So as you can see how they used to, out of the 30s and 40s.
When they first started selling oil for automobiles, they used a glass bottles like this. They'd fill them out of this, it'd be bulk. And then came along the metal, like one of these. The metal cork cans here, like these. This is plastic, which didn't last long. That's military oil there.
So as you can see, like you said, this whole rack. And it has, I believe, many of these have still the original oil in them.
Yes, they do.
Yes. And as you can see there.
Double-sided back and front.
Yeah, there's some behind there too. But this has been a passion of his to just bring, keep him in touch with what he grew up with.
25-year project on this room here.
25-year project just on this addition. This room, this side of the garage was an addition from when they originally built the house.
No, that was.
No, this is the new addition.
Yeah, this is new.
That's what I said. This is the new addition of it.
This was built in '95.
Yep.
Added on.
So it's already going on 30 years.
When we moved here.
But more.
The two green Texaco cans, the green ones, the round one, and the gallon can are my most prized cans. That gallon one's worth over $400.
Does it still have oil in it, or
no?
It's empty. Okay.
But those are some of the first cans that Texas Oil Company used. Had to real globe out of plastic reproduction. Those are real globes over there too. That's a 1940 or 49 toe pipe Texaco pump. This can right here is weights and measures that they check the gallonage, so it's legal tender. The weightmaster from East County would bring that in and check the pumps by that sight gauge. If it was above or below or 5 gallons, they have to reset the pump so you get true amount what you're paying for.
So the old mechanical way of measuring that you were getting the correct gallons.
Right.
From the pump, this was the weights and measure.
They still use the same. They still use the same type today. They still do it the old style way.
But that's one of the early ones there. And as you will see, and I'm just kind of going, we're going to go top to bottom, but these are a collection of the various glass jars. You can see like Castrol, and embedded into those glasses like Shell.
Son, Castle, the actual 100 O's, and those are all Canadian, British.
Canadian and British. And then you got your Shell, and he's even taken time to get the racks, the original racks, and the glasses to go in them. The spouts.
And that's why they used to carry them out in bulk oil in the racks like that, different brands.
So I guess I'm going to ask a question is, like at the beginning of the day, would the gas station attendant fill jars for the people that were coming through for the business day?
They'd fill them out in a bulk. Tanker truck would come and fill the bulk tank.
Right.
You hang them in those baskets. They'd carry them out and set them in between the pumps. That was before they had the cans.
Right.
Then they would take, once they were empty, take them back inside, fill them, put them back out. By the time they take the rack in, because someone would steal it.
Okay, all right. So thievery was no shy back then either. So Sunoco, Golf, Texaco, Mobil Gas.
Now, you go from the... Let me get behind that, I can see that. The Pennzoil, the Quaker Seat, the Valvoline, the Hudson, the Amolite, the Shell, the Penn, William Penn, Kendall. Those are all World War II oil bottles. At the start of the World War, when Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, once they got into the war, starting about 42, 43, they were running scrap drives, everything they can for products to make war support items for the military. And instead of, they did away with the oil cans and went to glass bottles. At the end of the war, they went back to the oil can. There's 3 of those are full of the original oil. They've never been opened.
Okay.
But those are called war bottles. Each one is measured in 1 quart each.
All right. So we'll kind of drop down here and come back. So here's the glass case. And as I explained to y'all yesterday, that this kind of showcases trophies from car shows he had. He had a 77. Just sold that this year or last year?
This year.
This year.
I owned it for 46 years. I bought it new at Marcy's.
So he's owned it for 46 years. I had what, 22,000
actual miles. It was original.
22 original actual mile, 22,000 actual miles, which is right here. You can see it right there.
And then that's at the Autorama.
And that was at the Autorama up in Cleveland. The light's kind of reflecting the pic. But with that 77, it had 22,000 original miles. Every time we'd come in the garage here, it opened the door on that. It still smelled like brand new from the day he bought it. So that...
It never seen salt, snow, bad weather, very little rain, and a pampered life was always kept inside. It was original paint and body, and I did all the modification work. It won over 70 of these trophies. There's 75 first place awards, not counting best of show, best engine, best paint, best chrome.
So that's now my wife and I did talk about when he was in the market of wanting to unload that truck and sell it. We bounced it around whether or not, but I just did not have, it was not a good time with my wife's medical conditions, nor the place to do that justice by keeping it, because this garage is pretty well kind of climate controlled in a sense. It's it stays cool in here, and
warm in the winter.
Yeah, and it's warm in the winter. So we'll just kind of peruse through here. Now his 55 Chevy there, that was one that he had gotten in the Air Force, that I know.
Yeah.
You bought it for yourself in the Air Force, modified it up, And you were...
After I got discharged out of the Air Force, I got into Bay City Chevrolet. They seen the car, knew I had it. They brought that display, and I had it in the GM plant for 2 weeks on display. I felt very honored.
So,
That was in 1969.
1969, so just to reiterate here, 1969 is 55 Chevy got showcased at Bay City, Michigan, the Bay City Chevrolet powertrain plant. They built that case, that showcase display. I mean, they built the display particularly to have that car sit there. So he had that in there for 2 weeks. He was very honored to have that on display. So that was, now the 55s, they came with a 265?
Yeah, I had a bored out 283 in it.
Okay.
292, 11-to-1 compression. The whole top end was off of a 300 horse 327 down top cam. It was a good stout little motor.
And
Muncie 4-speed.
And a Hurst shifter.
Yeah.
And so that's what I said. You'll find that in his stock cars. There's another black and white with the car. But that's him in his younger day there. But the big, like I told you folks, he was a big proponent of the 283s. And he ran the 283s in all of his stock cars. There's me as a young man up.
This is one that I ran in Michigan, Fletcher's.
That's the one when he was in the Air Force. That Fletcher's car. I just get around the trophy here.
3 times a week with that.
Then there's me right above with him on probably a Friday, getting ready to head out to the racetrack. Saturday night, because that's the 57. He can tell you pretty much what day and what track he was racing at with what car. And then I did say he raced his snowmobile. That's it right there, the Rupp. And that was the Ohio 200
mile endurance right there, that one. That was a cross-country race I won. Taking the checker. That's A.J. Floyd myself in his Chevy dealership.
And there's more of the 77 down there. So to sit back and he got this oak cabinet case all the way down here.
16 feet long.
16 feet long. Set the lighting up in it, the sliding glass doors.
We did the whole cabinet and finished it, did the interior, everything.
So this way, he's got everything in here showcased.
This is the trophy from the 200.
That's the big boy trophy in the case from the
200 mile endurance race, 1 mile oval, 200 times around. There were 70 machines started, and I beat them all.
So yeah, that was
5 hours and 20 minutes.
5 hours and 20 minutes to do the 200-mile race on a Rupp. And that was a 440?
Yep.
440 Rupp.
440 sprint.
440 sprint. So the Rupp Sprint 440.
Stock out of the box. And it was one of those exceptional ones that ran like John the Bear.
So and more.
This is you in the Camaro.
Yeah, that was another time we were heading out to the track. Me right there on the trailer.
In the car.
And that was Clint's pickup truck pulling it there. I remember that because there's...
Yes, you, Uncle Bryce, Clint, and me.
So Clint is the one. I've got pictures of his semi-truck. I've been out with him.
He was an owner-operator.
Owner-operator truck driver. But that's the crew there, so that's when they'd go out. And you raced mainly at
Raceway 7 in Conneaut, Ohio.
So that's where he did a lot of his racing. Sometimes you'd go, is it up to New York or somewhere, Pennsylvania?
Erie, PA.
Okay, Erie, PA. But, and then there's...
This is Patty's Best of Show. That's one of the last big truck shows we took it to. Out of 150 trucks and vans, I put it in her name that day, and she won Best of Show.
Yeah, that's the 77 that he said won Best of Show. And then above, more oil cans.
It's all mostly Texaco stuff up there.
And then
Also all accessory additive. Tire repair cans, outboard motor.
so like I said, it's a museum in here. It smells new in here. It's not like it smells like a shop or gasoline fumes or anything like that.
The
It's
building is 20 by 40.
but yeah, this new edition, we'll go over to the other side, but this edition that he put in, what you're seeing here is 20 by 40.
These are license plate toppers, those right there.
So, and then we'll go around to the other side.
Come here. Those what the attendants used to wear at the gas station when you had cash. There's the change makers, you wear that on your belt. Those are original.
The original change makers that the fuel attendants would have on their belt when you got full service back then.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't get out of your car and pump your gas, and it was almost not existent for you to pump your gas because they deemed you were not qualified for it.
I'm not gonna, I just cleaned it yesterday and covered it. I to, if I know you was coming, I wouldn't cover it. You want me to pull the cover up?
No, that's fine. This is a lathe, though.
A metal lathe, 52-inch bed. It's a 1949 Atlas, quick change gears, Timken bearings, and I completely took me 4 months, completely restored it. I found it in an old gentleman's basement and sit there 20 years. The basement had been flooded. It was rusted, busted, and crusty. It took me 4 months, and I brought it back to new, original condition.
So, let me finish over here, as you can see, and
Those are real glass bulbs.
yep, these are all real glass bulbs up here from various gas stations. And like I said, he also, when you'd go into a Texaco gas station, you could, for your child, purchase toys from the gas station. And he has gotten his hands on a few of these and refurbished them.
All the way up.
All the way up to there. And even if you remember the Texaco gas stations, they even had the fireman's hat with Texaco on it. I remember wearing those a lot as a kid.
The only gift I had for the girls is laying sideways, see it behind the cabinet, Texaco cheerleader doll, laying that way.
Oh yeah, there's the Texaco cheerleader doll behind that tanker tractor right there for the girls. But it's laying sideways.
The STPs are all original cans. The display rack is original, and those are when Andy Granatelli first came out with STP, formed the company. He was heavily involved with Studebaker, all on one of those, and those are all Studebaker cans. I found them at a swap meet in Canfield, Ohio. I bought the whole case of them for 20 bucks. The guy did not know what he had.
Now, I did bring up to the viewers, we're gonna walk out into the open here. And the other side of the garage. Now this, he said, you know, like he said, you bought the house, you bought this 1980.
1978.
1978. It came with a garage, detached, but 1995 he added this 20 by 40 edition.
I had none of this stuff.
Yeah, none of this stuff existed until after this garage got built.
Small toolbox, my torches, and a welder.
But I told you folks, he also hand-built a couple Pennsylvania tractors, and he's got his Pro Street over there, so we're going to walk over the other side and take a look. So, we're not totally done with the tour.
Let me turn the lights on.
So there's the Pro Street, still in all of its glory, and being suspended from the garage. It cut the back half off, and he has got a 4-link suspension to go on there.
The biggest Pro Street tire, 21.5 inches wide. It's been tub narrowed. All the stuff that's going in is all custom built, brand new.
So This is a, it's got a Trans Am interior in it from the 80s.
86 Pontiac Trans Am, dash, seats, and console.
Okay.
The motor is also out of the same car as tuned for injected, all computer.
And you have, with the addition to the rear end being tubbed and narrowed with 21-inch Mickey Thompson's, is you have a Summit racing engine, or a Summit engine, 400 small block that you had bought for this?
Well, it's all in pieces yet, but the machine work's all done. I got airflow research heads, good piston rods, balance, all the good stuff, all from Summit.
Okay. Because Summit is not but what, hour, 45 minutes from here?
55 miles.
55 miles, about an hour drive, give or take traffic. But I've gone by there several times making deliveries now.
It's dirty in here, but I'll pick the hood up.
It would boot and scoot, but the motor he's got for it's going to definitely pull it better. So, and then we got this bad boy. I haven't seen this since my son and I were down here. He's taken this. He literally took this. It was this a basket case tractor that you put together?
Well, no, it was all complete, but it was been sitting in a barn for 20, 30 years. The tires were all flat rotted, just sinking into the dirt. I got pictures of it. It was rusty, crusty, but it was all fairly straight, and it was all there. Motor was free. So I took it all apart, sandblasted it, painted it, decals.
That's it.
Everyone in the Pennsylvanians, they used a Mopar automobile rear end, narrowed, turned upside down.
And that's the, it's almost like a small car axle on there.
It's Mopar.
It's a Mopar axle.
40s and 50s.
Mopar axle from the 40s and 50s that they used on there.
2 people could ride on it too.
Now, where's the other Oh, the other tractor in the trailer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll open the door.
So this is the one he could doodle around the tractor show.
Right. This one over here, we don't use it.
Yeah, the other one is a little more radical. But yeah, so just get the front here. So this was a tractor company back in the day, Pennsylvania. So this is the gnarly bad boy here. You got a flashlight?
Here, hold the door a minute.
I'll hold the door. I got it. He's got a prop rod for the there we go. And then one for this side.
Just enough to get it in. All right.
Okay.
Let me get the extension light.
Yep, he's gonna get a light. So let's see.
I made it into a mini puller, but it's strictly eye candy, only for show only. We don't pull with it, we don't run it. There's no fuel in the tank. It sits under a canopy roped off just for people to look at it. I wanted something nobody else had, and that's what I went for. I did all the work on it.
He did all the tin work and fabrication.
I did all the paint work. The only thing I didn't do was the cushions for the seat and the lettering. I had to have that done. on the right side made the fenders by hand.
Yeah. So that was one thing when he was a young man, is if you wanted something nice like this, you had to hand build it. You didn't go down to the store and just buy a bolt-on part. You had to have a creative mind, imagination, and the tools and the way to get the materials to build it the way you wanted it.
It took me 4 months and $4,000 to do it. Because my wife said I could build it any way I wanted it, but I had to get it right the first time. And I backtracked a few times while I was building it. But this is just a vision I had of what it looked like. It looked nothing like this stock.
Right. So this is
Now we're gonna let the door down. I'd like to finally get a picture of the wheelie bars in the rear end.
okay. Let me come around you with the light. Yeah, I believe the front is locked up. But this side is the side where he could get away with doing the welding, grinding, and other stuff. Where the other side is more of the showcase and the museum side. But yeah, I know the video's going along, folks. And if you're watching it, appreciate it. I just wanted to showcase this because I've never had a chance with the technology and camera and stuff to ever sit down with my dad and have conversations and record a lot of things, a lot of similarities, likes and dislikes that we have. But the one thing is all this stuff, it runs in our blood. It runs in mine. My spouse, she definitely sees this in me, but that's you know, my RAM at home. I've been very particular, and the way I've been building it, it sits in the garage at the time being because we're saving some money, because we definitely need to upgrade a house. So therefore we're not that should be good there, Dad. And to say this was a Harbor Freight trailer?
Why not?
What the trailer is?
I bought just a basic trailer and I built the top, painted it, put the wood on it,
Yep.
put the winch on it.
So he built the enclosed section himself and put it all together so he could travel with it. But this is the back end of it.
It's the same rear end as that one over there.
Same rear end as the other one.
And both of them have individual foot brakes too.
Both are individual foot brakes. And the wheelie bars down there.
I made this from scratch just out of my head. That was not on there.
The seat
backrest.
The seat backrest was never part of these tractors, just the bottom cushion. So he handmade all this and the cushion.
Made all the fenders on a flat stock, built all the braces, designed them, made mock-up, and that's what we ended up with.
So
I formed this all by hand too. It's stainless. It's glued onto the original cover underneath.
okay. So that's a little bit of that. So I wanted to get out here and at least do this. A little bit of history of my background. And just getting the cord back up. Now I also mentioned to the folks,
Tell them that my dad, your grandfather, was an excellent mechanic back in the day. When you rebuilt and fixed things, you didn't go to the store and get new parts unless they're completely worn out. I had a good teacher. He taught me well. He taught me to do it right the first time or don't touch it.
now we're going to get into a couple discussions. Now your backstory too is you became a really good welder and fabricator from stock car days on through 60s, 70s, 80s.
I got 3 welding certifications, but I get so shaky I can't weld anymore.
Well, at your age, you're retired. You don't need to do it anymore, but you have done all the fabrications that you've seen with the stock cars.
And all that so far.
And all that. So even with the race cars and other hot rods, but even in production, in the chemical plants, you'd done...
Well, I was a certified millwright maintenance mechanic, certified welder, pipe fitter, you name it, jack of all trades.
So hence where, you know, when you grow up and you don't have anything and you kind of start out poor, you learn all those different trades, because if you want something, you know, you're going to obtain it one way or another.
A lot of mine was self-taught, and I read a lot of books.
Which is same here.
The old timers asked a lot of questions. That's how I learned.
And in finding someone that you can get the knowledge from, a mentor or someone that's experienced. One last story, and this is one that's always resonated with me, is my grandfather, your dad. I've talked to some folks out on the road about Grandpa, and that was, you went with him. What was the story in just a short version of I-90?
When President Eisenhower signed the major road bill in 1955 to start building all the interstates to the United States, which there was very few, they decided to run Interstate 90 clear from Buffalo over into other side of Ohio. Each county had what was called a spur within their county. H.A. Jones of Louisiana was one of the largest road builders in the nation at that time. They had an ad in the paper looking for civil engineers or surveyors. My dad was not a college graduate, but he learned a trade by, like I did a lot of my trade, by the seat of his pants. He was very good at what he did. He worked at...
We're back, folks. The camera is overheating again, so we're gonna make this very quick and finish the story up. Hey, Dad, you wanna come over here? We'll just stand by the phone. I got too far away from, and it just everything pulled connection from the phone. It broke away. So you were saying then the company was looking for surveyors.
My dad in the 1950s worked for a company called the Electromet. It was part of Union Carbide. They would make different products for the steel mills. Their basic product was brought in by boat out of Lake Erie, shipped in, and they had stockpiles of it out in their yard. He started out in the office, worked his way up to learning how to survey. They would survey the stockpiles to see how many cubic yards, feet, and ton was in it, so they knew how much they had to work with. When Interstate 90 was going to be built, and they had that in the paper looking for certain craftsmen, surveyors was one of them. So he went and applied. They hired him. They started building in about 1956 or 7. Took them three years, I think, to get the Asheville spur done. But in one section of it, there's a 3-mile curve, and they had 3 different college graduated young fellows, college whiz kids. They could not get it to come up from apex to apex and hit it both ways the same way. My dad, they called him Bud, was his nickname. And said, "Bud, you want to try this?" "Well, I'm not certified." His boss says, "Give it a shot." He shot it in first try, right dead on the nail head, just like it's supposed to. I got to go out 2 or 3 times with him. He'd take me out, and I was on the job when I got to see the 90 being built.
And the massive, the equipment was massive back then for its era, but the earth-moving equipment.
They ran the big ukes, made Uke in Ohio.
Yep.
They had the big, what they call a pan or pan scoop. They had an engine in the front and an engine in the rear. and plus they had a pusher bar on the back. They take a D9 dozer because they were not self-loading, and they'd push on the back, get it full, take it from a high spot, put it in a low spot.
Right.
Get it back empty. Just keep doing that. It's called fill and grade.
So they so out here in Ashtabula, my grandfather, he helped survey and get I-90 coming through laid down so they could cut through the woods, the land, so they could start laying the
they
cement.
started at the PA line, which there was 2 crews, 3 men in each crew. My dad was on one of them. Both of them had Jeep station wagons back then. They had chainsaws, machetes, axes, their survey equipment. They worked off of aerial maps that were photographed from airplanes. That's all they had to go by. So they were cutting through farmland, people's property, laying the basic stakes before they started even cutting any trees.
So that's a wrap, folks. We got that last segment in just before the connection lost again. My service is more than subpar, so I've been happy to get this much obtained and recorded. So we are here. He's shutting the garage up, getting the lights off. I have to hit the road. It's Saturday. What time you got there on your watch?
10 to 4.
It's 3:50. So I'm gonna visit for a little bit, and I'm gonna get on the road between 5 and 6. I need to get back, get a good night's sleep at home, spend some time with the wife in the morning real quick before I got to get back in the semi, and then maybe tomorrow night I will be outside of Columbus, Ohio. Maybe I'll shoot another live stream tomorrow night. If you got any questions, comments, or anything, put those down below. If these are probably going to be in a series of 1, 2, 3 because of the broken connection, so just look for that. Otherwise, folks, stay safe. Continuing educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught, and we will see you in the next video.